What happens at the doctor's office stays at the doctor's office. That is my guarantee to you, and with those words, we'll dive right into this episode. I think we learned something here. Emilia Lanier is a literary mind, and she has shown time and again that she's not stupid. And she actually hates lewd and, hard men who are too direct. So we need to be smart with her and tell her the straight facts. No lying to this one.
Good evening, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Forman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems and of plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable.
Well, 'tis true most of us Bassano's and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright. Let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting. And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S, although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Emilia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer?
This is Shakespeare, I think, right? We have heard Shakespeare name dropped at least once throughout the series already. So, but what does she want to hear here? Let's see what we can tell her. The question then is, will I be a successful writer? With the House of Ambitions, we have a Mars domicile in Aries suggests victory, Uranus represents surprises in politics, Jupiter advises optimism, Pluto represents transformation. If Mistress Lanier maintains optimism, her ambitions will be realized. Not only will she be successful, her work will lead to transformative and surprising political changes. Okay, ambition. And then House of Business Partners. This indicates cooperation. Mistress Lanier and her writing partner work well together. All right, this seems like a good and positive reading. Then up here, we only have one star sign, House of Children. The moon exalted in Taurus. This advises sensitivity. The stars urge Mistress Lanier to be more sensitive to the needs of her child. That's not what she wants to hear. The reader star predictor. Okay, and then we have the House of Lost and Stolen Goods. This represents a man, Mr. S. This indicates creativity. This speaks of Mr. S indulging in creative theft. Oh yes, this might be a thing. And this tells me of jealousy. House of Legacy. This indicates deception. This house warns of a legacy marred by deceit and jealousy. So here we are advising her not to share her stories with the man, Mr. S. And I think that is something she will appreciate. The man will try to put his name on the play and not give her the credit. I think that is the right choice to make her happy. She wants to fight the man, and she doesn't want to be... Well, the singers at the start did say that she needed someone to be behind. This over here, business partners, right? Indicates cooperation. They will work well together. This is the optimistic one. Not only will she be successful, her work will lead to transformative and surprising political changes. I think we should go with this one. This is the positive reading. The other one could backfire. So can this one, surely, but I'm going with the positive one, where she finds a man to be her ghost. She can be his ghostwriter or whatever, and achieves success with that, because no one will acknowledge a woman in this day and age anyway. So that might not be what she wants to hear, but I think this is the best outcome for her.
It would seem Mr. S.'s confidence is not misplaced, for the stars foretell that if you have faith in your success, you will succeed. And your contribution to the world will reach beyond literature to be of great benefit to society.
So, in order to succeed, I must hold fast to a belief that I will succeed.
Just so, madam.
But what you are asking of me is right illogical, Dr. Forman.
God damn it.
Indeed, 'tis an impossibility. How can I maintain a belief that my success is inevitable when you have just informed me that my success is conditional and contingent? As Aristotle teaches us in
Mistress
his...
Lanier, mayhap I have confounded you with the nuances of my astrological reading. All you need know is that the achievement of your goals is very likely. Indeed, 'tis indicated that your collaboration with Mr. S will be a fruitful one. Prithee, madam, look not for bad news among the good.
Aye, mayhap 'tis best I not overthink it, as you say. I thank ye, sir. Good even, Dr. Forman.
She wasn't happy at all here, I think, unfortunately. The querent did wish to know whether her activities as a writer would bring her success. I did advise the querent that her collaboration with Mr. S was fruitful and would bring her success. Methinks the querent was a little pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Probably 10 points. Yeah, okay, up to 45. If only I could forget what he said about my success being conditional. How would Euclid have solved this conundrum? Yeah, she wanted the critical one.
Mistress Avis Allen, the love of Forman's life, how futile 'tis to fall for another man's wife.
All right. Now, I don't know. We have received the letter from her, Avis Allen. So I don't think I can lose that. Now we need to maneuver with her so that she doesn't ruin my business and make me lose points with the other ones. Maybe even we can end up setting her up for gaining points with other characters. And I'm also thinking we should maybe break off our relationship with her to not endanger our practice, which she won't like, but she can't punish me anymore, I think. Let's see.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, madam. What service may I perform for you this day?
For me? None. None at all.
Verily. Then I cannot fathom why you...
'Twas my husband who bade me come, for he finds it difficult to speak of... As I say, he had me come in his stead, and I could think of no reason to give him for why I should not come.
I see. Then what is troubling your husband? Madam, I cannot treat a querent without knowing first what his troubles are.
He is unable to perform his marital duties.
I see, and whatever does that mean? Your husband forgets to put out the night soil? Some broken shelving he has neglected to fix? Prithee, madam, I bid you be more precise.
You know
What a
perfectly
doctor.
well what I mean, Simon. I bid you not drag this out any longer. Pray read the stars and let us get this over with.
As you wish, madam. Now, let us see. What ails Mr. Allen so as to render him unable to perform his marital obligations towards Mistress Allen?
Interesting. 3 choices. My husband is unable to rise to the occasion when performing his marital duties. What ails him? Aries, ruler of the head, suggests a deficiency of blood. Pluto in retrograde, the illness will get worse before it gets better. Uranus in retrograde, this suggests a mild enchantment cast by a witch. Mr. Allen then suffers from a loss of carnal lust. Okay. Yeah. Then Leo, ruler of the heart, says that with the sun domicile in Leo, this suggests the illness will be long-lasting. Neptune suggests a disturbance of the mind. This suggests a Saturn in detriment in Leo. Suggests a mild imbalance of black bile again. Mr. Allen suffers from cold in the heart. Oh, boys, that he doesn't love her anymore. And Sagittarius, ruler of the hips, suggests the illness is temporary. Mr. Allen suffers from a crick in the back. It is causing him pain in the hips and making it difficult to perform the duties around the house. No. Loss of carnal lust is probably not what she wants to hear. Not that she doesn't want to hear that he's turned on by her. We need to break them up. He doesn't love her anymore, and so then the snowball is rolling, right? So this is what we're going with. Also, this is what Simon wants out of this.
Mr. Allen is afflicted with a cold in the heart, caused by an imbalance of black bile. The treatment for this is quite simple. You have merely to add boiled snake to your husband's diet.
Oh, tis your full judgment on the matter, then?
Yes, he is to eat boiled snake flesh. Be sure to gut the snake first, however.
Then I will pass these instructions on to my cook. Well, I had best be going now.
Nay, prithee, bide a moment, if you will. The snake flesh cure, 'tis often effective, in truth. 'Tis also my judgment, as a physician, that for a wife to be so neglected, 'tis most unhealthsome. And so...
Oh, Simon.
Oh, Avis.
Of course. Avis Allen. Oh, Avis, oh, Avis. The querent did come on behalf of her husband, who, it appeared, does suffer from dysfunction of the privy member. I judged Mr. Allen is suffering from a cold heart due to chronic imbalance of black bile and prescribed the consumption of boiled snake. Methinks the querent is most pleased with me for the reading I gave today. Coitus post consultatio. So not what I expected out of this result, but whatever. She was happy. I shall say 100 Hail Marys before bed this even, nay, 200. Okay.
What doctors against him do make war? Doctors against him do make war. He makes love without a care. 'Tis true, Avis is not his by law. But in love and war is fair. But in love and war is fair.
Last even, 'twas like a dream. Never in my life have I felt so. Oh, my sweet Avis, 'tis true you are married, but surely a love as great as ours can transcend such earthly impediments. Dare I hope for... Nay, 'tis most unlikely. Or is it? Forsooth, there be no harm in asking the stars. Might Avis Allen one day be mine?
Oh, this is a dangerous path, Simon. Will Avis and I ever be wed? House of Family and Friends. This represents a woman, Avis Allen. Avis Allen's loyalties lie with her family. Alright, so no. House of Marriage. Devises optimism due to a reversal. This represents a change of direction due to death. The husband might die. This suggests a sudden change in direction. I may be optimistic, for Mr. Allen will suffer ill and luck and die. Avis will then be free to marry me. Alright. And House of Legacy. This represents a betrayal. Avis has betrayed her marriage vows. The damage has wrought upon her marriage cannot be undone, and her past cannot be erased. Okay. Am I supposed to drag these anywhere? No. I'm clicking them and nothing else is happening. I'm wondering, because sometimes they contradict each other. I can't, do anything with them, as far as I am aware. So we are just reading. House of Secrets, then. This represents in cunning. Avis is currently hiding a secret from me. Oh. The house of relationships represents truth. This indicates confusion, advises jealousy. I am not seeing things clearly. If I knew the truth about our relationship, I would presently be seething with jealousy. Oh, this is... No. I want to keep Simon happy and optimistic, so I will tell him to wait. Maybe he will die, and we will see where it goes. So, B.
It says Avis is one day to be widowed, which will, of course, be very tragical. But after the grieving is done, we will marry. She will be Mistress Forman. Mistress Avis Forman.
All right. Will Avis and I ever be wed? I judge that Mr. Allen would one day die, leaving Avis Allen free to marry me. It's a dangerous path. Oh, old Simon. I wonder how Avis will wish to furnish my house. Doubtless she will require the purchase of many cushions. Not sure why. Alright, so let's just have a brief review of what happened with Thomas Black. This is the guy with the ships. He gave me 20 points for advising him on the Conquering Cherub. And he was pleased with that. Let's see, he probably is here to talk about the result of that trade endeavor.
Good day, Dean Blogg. Fare you well?
Most well indeed, and I will tell you why. The Conquering Cherub has lately returned home to England.
Ah, this being the voyage you did invest in.
Aye, and what a sound investment it was, for it has paid off most handsomely. The Cherub's cargo of nutmeg and pepper will fetch a high price indeed. In sooth, as I recall, it was you who advised me on this investment, was it not? I thank ye heartily for it, sir.
I am glad to have been of service, Dean Blogg.
Forsooth, my earnings have enabled me to make a substantial investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to the New World.
Ah, methinks I've heard of this. 'Tis a quest to find the fabled lost city of gold, is it not? Or as the Spanish call it, El Dorado?
The very same. For it is said that El Dorado does lie deep within the rainforests of the southern parts of the New World, hiding vast quantities of gold and precious jewels. Hence, what I would have you tell me is, exactly how rich can I expect to be made from my investment?
I see.
For if I am to be made very rich, I am afeard that news of my fabulous wealth may cause some jealousy among the clergy. News travels fast around the diocese, and I think it wise to get ahead of it if I can.
Then let us consult the stars. What will become of Thomas Blagg's investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's quest to find El Dorado?
The smart choice here would be to tell him, at least give him moderate expectations as best, because he's not going to find El Dorado. But let's see here what our options are. Will my investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to discover El Dorado pay off? House of Finances represents unhappiness. Black's finances will bring him unhappiness. The House of Foreign Countries represents confidence, represents instincts, and stubbornness. The expedition will encounter foreigners who are stubborn, confident, and led by instinct. Okay. And House of Business Partners suggests violence. Black's business partners will be met with violence. This is very realistic and most likely to happen. So let's see what we can find in the other star sets, though. Here we have one symbol. The House of Children shows optimism in reverse, pessimism. This represents the inverse of death, life. and indicates a surprising reversal. There is cause for pessimism and surprising reversal to save the lives of children. I am not sure what that has to do with his business endeavor at all. We are not selecting this one for sure. And then over here, God rewards exploration. This represents curiosity, okay. House of Grace, God's Grace. And the House of Legacy represents fine things. Black will be able to leave his children a legacy of fine things. I will go with the pessimistic one. A businessman likes to be informed when he's about to make a bad investment so that he can abstain from it. I think that this is a very sensible choice. It may be that the expedition then goes on and discovers something and then we get punished, but I think this is most likely what will be good for us and by extension, for Black and by extension us. So, yeah.
I have ill tidings for you, Dean Black. Raleigh and his men have been set upon by a tribe of angry New World natives.
Angry natives? But surely the natives would greet us with much rejoicing. For do we not bring with us the gift of civilization? Would they not crave freedom from their tyrannical chieftains and cruel pagan gods?
Well, it would seem these particular natives cannot be reasoned with, as they are led by instinct alone, and they will fight to the last man, as it is not in their nature to surrender with honor, as Christian men would.
Truly? But...
Alas, I am afeard that Raleigh shall be forced to abandon his search for El Dorado, and your investment will come to naught.
I must own, sir, that I cannot share your uncharitable view of these savages. They may be heathens, but are they not still God's children? I will now take my leave, that you may engage in quiet reflection upon the spiritual dimensions of this question.
Damn it. The current did wish to know the fate of his investment and an expedition to El Dorado, the fabled city of gold. I misunderstood. I thought he didn't make the investment yet. I think I was wrong about that. I did warn the current that Raleigh's search for El Dorado would be aborted due to the local resistance. Methinks the current took my advice a little ill. Oh. Well, hopefully it turns out later that I was right, and then he'll come back and apologize. Yeah, he didn't like that. Okay. Mayhap I invest in tulip bulbs. I hear young merchants say such bulbs will one day replace silver as the new coin. Okay.
When the symptoms are rare and the questions are quit,
When the symptoms are rare and the questions are quit,
from the land is a strange and is a tis
They're right about that.
Good morrow, sir, and well met.
Indeed, 'tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to the great Doctor Simon Forman.
Aye, and I can see why you are come. Methinks you are not well, signor. The colour of your face is quite alarming.
It is because I am losing the blood. The blood does drain away from my face, way down my body, and out of my...
You are bleeding from your fundament. How much have you been bleeding, and for how long?
Un poco, not too much. It does come and go. Sometimes blood, sometimes no blood. You stop the blood, see?
Mayhap I will, but first I must consult the stars to find a diagnosis. What ails Signor Riccardo Ferraro?
Well, I'm starting to think that Signor Ferraro is seriously ill. Poor guy. First, he had lower back and pain in the lower back and urination. Then we gave him or diagnosed him with a colic, which is a chronic disease. And now what? Bleeding from my fundament, which I think is the buttocks, between the buttocks. So let's see. Or it could just be hemorrhoids, I suppose. Okay. Scorpio, ruler of the privy member. remember. This has been the penis earlier, so maybe I was wrong. This suggests the illness will not last long. Senor Ferraro has hemorrhoids, which are swellings in the anus and rectum. Blind hemorrhoids can cause pain, whereas open hemorrhoids are apt to bleed. Right? Or Taro is ruler of the neck. This represents a mild imbalance of yellow bile color in the body. Senor Ferraro suffers from jaundice. A blockage in Senor Ferraro's neck has caused color to blood in his head, turning his face yellow. What? Well, I don't want to Google it, but I really want to Google what jaundice means. But this seems incorrect. Maybe it's a thing, but how would that make him bleed from the buttocks? I don't see that being a thing. So we are going to prescribe him, or diagnose him, not prescribe, that's disgusting, but we'll diagnose him with hemorrhoids, I suppose, which is, at least, as it says here, temporary, right? So, yeah.
There is nothing here to worry about, Signor Ferraro. Your body is merely purging itself of corrupted blood, in a similar manner to that which does occur in a woman's nethers each month. To wit, 'tis most healthsome and natural.
Are you sure? Are you sure that is your final answer?
Indeed it is. I do assure you, Signor, 'tis the very latest medical thinking on the subject of hemorrhoids. You are welcome to procure a second opinion, but I warrant you will find that most doctors in London will tell you the same.
Then Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day, Signor Forman.
Again, he's a hard man to please. The current did present with the symptom of bleeding from the fundament. I did diagnose hemorrhoids and told the current that bleeding from them is as natural as a woman's monthly courses. Methinks the current was a little pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Well, he did seem pale in the face, so maybe it was the other option. I just don't see how that makes someone bleed from the anus, as it were. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what jaundice means, but clearly I'm not good at treating this guy. A textbook answer, but it is not hard for a common man to procure a medical book nowadays. Well, Ricardo.
This woman has a gift for words. If only she had written words, they'd probably be much better words. For written by a lady.
Oh, Lord.
Did you see that?
See what, madam?
Your querent, Signor Ferraro, scuttling away from me like a frighted rabbit. What have I ever done to upset the man? All I did was wish him buongiorno as I passed him at the door.
Verily, Signor Ferraro's behaviour does sound full strange. But let us not think of him, but of the matter that brings you hither, Mistress Lanier. How do you fare?
I fare most well, in the main. For you spoke true when you said my collaboration with Mr. S would be fruitful. 'Tis going exceeding well. Verily, Dr. Forman, I would be right content with my lot at present if it were not for the trouble I am come about this day.
Pray, tell me of this trouble, madam.
I am being prowled. Oftentimes in the night I see him following me home. One time methinks I even caught him looking at me through my window. I would have you tell me who this prowling man might be.
A prowler? How very worrisome. Can you
It is
describe
Ricardo.
this man to me?
Nay, for 'tis always at night that I spy him, and I have always been too frighted for my eyes to linger upon him very long.
Then let us see what light the stars can shed upon the identity of this man who hides himself in darkness. Who is the man prowling Mistress Lanier?
That's the only clue we have anyway, right? It could be Ricardo. That's why he avoids her gaze, because he doesn't want to be recognized. Who is the mysterious man prowling me? Let's see. The house of marriage suggests violence. The prowler is a violent husband. House of duties suggests misguided optimism, shows a return to sexual intimacies, and indicates a reversal in fortune. The prowler hopes for a reversal of the ill luck he has had with Mistress Lanier. He harbors a misguided hope that she will perform her wifely duties and pursue intimate relationship. Perform her wifely duties. So it's the husband? Very strange. Yeah, so this suggests that it is the husband that is prowling her, but why would he? I mean, surely he can meet her at home and force her into bed if he wants to. By not by force, but like marital duties or whatever. This suggests romantic partners, the house of religion. This reveals confusion and indicates mistrust. Mistress Lania is suffering from mental confusion owing to her religious beliefs. She also harbors an unjustified level of mistrust towards prospective romantic partners. No. This is definitely not what she wants to hear. And here the House of Secrets represents emotions. The Prowler harbors undeclared feelings for Mistress Lania. And House of Friendships, this represents a man with authority. Mercury domiciled in Virgo represents wit. The Prowler is a man of authority and a master of wit. Mistress Lania considers him a friend. Very strange. Who is the mysterious man prowling me? Let us see if we can need anything from in here. No. I don't believe so. A friend. Mistress Lania considers him a friend. Again, that could be Ricardo, if anyone. This is the husband, which is really strange. And this is telling her that she is confused, which is definitely not the right choice. It could be the husband, I suppose. Let's see. From what we know about the husband, it is a cousin of hers. And he likes strong drink and spends too much money on drink. That's what we knew about him. But I don't see any connections there. I think she considers Ricardo a friend, and we just learned that he is trying to be secretive around her. I think this is the right path. It could also be Mr. S, but we don't know enough to make that jump to conclusion. We'll go this path, though, see what happens.
The stars suggest that your prowler is a man with a talent for wit, a man who secretly harbors amorous feelings towards you. Does that sound like anyone you know, madam?
Dr. Forman, I find your question most illogical. I cannot know of a man who harbours secret feelings for me, for indeed, if I were to know of them, the feelings would not be secret.
Yes, well, let me put it another way. Your friend, Mr. S., is the keen-witted man who furtively admires you. He is your prowler, madam.
Mr. S is my prowler, you say? I bid you, sir, check the stars again.
Is it not the most likely explanation, though, madam?
I assure you there is nothing likely about the unique relationship betwixt me and Mr. S. Indeed, he has too much respect for my literary mind to use me so ill. For his is a noble intellect that allows him to soar above the baser instincts of lesser men. Now, if you will not judge the stars again for me, I will bid you good day, Dr. Forman.
So, probably it was the husband then. The Quirion believed she was being prowled by a man and did wish to know his identity. I did advise the Quirion that her prowler is her literary collaborator, Mr. S. Methinks the Quirion took my advice rather ill. Yeah, too bad. Dr. Forman does not understand how unlike we artists are to common folk. I did not mean to accuse Mr. S. I'm sure that he could woo her if he really wanted to. But enough about that. That'll be the end of today's episode. Hopefully we can be a better doctor in the coming ones. See you tomorrow, folks, and bye.